Welcome back. The size of my smile should be indication enough that you are in the right place. Thank you so much for choosing to start your day with us. We understand you have many choices. This is the right one, certainly over Women's Month. We are feeling empowered this month, and I say we loosely, obviously not being a woman, but I'm surrounded by incredible human beings doing the most, and we shine a light on the resilience, the power of South African women who are now rewriting the story, thankfully, for the next generation. Sehaam Bateman grew up in a community affected by gangs and violence in the worst possible way, where the odds were definitely stacked against her and her community, but instead of becoming a product of that environment, she used it to fuel herself, to fuel her passion to uplift others. And today, she's a life coach, she's a speaker, and a founder of Ignite, a mentorship group that is guiding young girls away from violence and towards purpose. And through her personal story of survival and transformation, she is now showing all of us where you come from doesn't define where you are going. I think that intro alone deserves a round of applause. Welcome, Sehaam. And now we almost have a live studio audience with about 1,000 amazing marimba players around us. Marimba Jam is here to continue their world record-breaking feats. But we are focused on you as just one individual changing the world. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
You speak very openly, thankfully, and quite vulnerably about the conditions that you grew up in. Not too far away from us now, there are bullet holes in the walls that kids have to walk through, walk past the actual bullets every single day of their life. Just talk us through how you began and what led to this clear shift, taking control of your environment, your situation.
Okay, so first let me just rectify it a little bit, because I work with girls from gang-affected communities. I grew up with sexual molestation and I was physically abused. So that's my beginning, and that's my reasoning for actually starting Ignite and working with girls from these communities, which is really, really important to me. So for me, you know, abuse is a very lonely place to be, because especially when it's inflicted upon you by family members or people that's supposed to protect you and love you.
And that's often the case.
And that's often the case. And you are very alone in it, because often abusers are very well liked outside of your families or your communities.
Hence the access that they have.
Yes, and so you feel alone in that, because you don't feel like you can say anything or you can do anything about it. So you sit in silence, and starting Ignite was all about being able to give a voice to these girls who are going through this at the moment. And I find that there are so many, like you said, in South Africa at the moment, no matter where we're looking.
It's the baseline of existence in this country.
It is the baseline, and I think it shouldn't be the norm, but unfortunately it is the norm. You know, mentoring, I've mentored 10 girls from Eldorado Park in Johannesburg.
Oh, wow.
I've been mentoring for over a decade now. So, and for me, what led to it was the abuse that has been able to do that.
Where did you find your voice? How were you set against what you have just described? How were you able to find this power?
I think not having a voice has pushed me to want one.
To scream into the wind off the mountaintops.
I think that, you know, you're quiet for so long, you're told to lie about it, don't say anything, don't let anybody know what you're doing. And it becomes such a norm that eventually when you grow up, you're just so tired of it. And you look at it and you say,
hurtful,
well, I don't, you're hurtful,
term.
exactly. You're absolutely hurtful. And you're just like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to speak my truth. I want to be heard, and I want to be a voice for others.
Is that enough to prompt other young girls to be able to do it? Because I'm looking at this space thinking, it's one thing getting to that point yourself. How do you teach that? How do you facilitate then in a young girl?
Being a life coach myself, obviously, I absolutely know that the way we empower ourselves is through our mind. Our circumstances does not define us. And when we can teach people how to take control of their mind, we can teach people how to empower themselves, especially young girls. They're able to go off and do great things. And so the whole coaching program and mentoring program for Ignite is to help girls empower themselves.
Oh, I love that. Because ultimately, that's all you've got. You can take all the other structures away. You can hand over responsibility to government, to social structures, to your school. Ultimately, you're going to have to find it within yourself. to the young girls that are sitting on that verge right now, that are terrified to reach out because of the reasons, all valid, that you have said, what would you say to them right now? How do they speak to themselves in these moments?
I think firstly is acknowledging that what's happening is wrong. Because I think for me, that was the biggest thing for me, was being able to admit that it was wrong. Because it's someone you love, because it's someone that's supposed to protect you, you think it's okay and you excuse the behavior. And I think that the first step is acknowledging that it's not okay, it doesn't matter who it is, it's not okay to be treated like a boxing bag. It's not okay to be treated, for your body to be taken advantage of in any kind of way. And I think that's extremely important. And once you can acknowledge that and you see that it's a problem, and if you are someone that already see it, you know it's wrong, then you've got to also decide, because it's a choice afterwards. What someone does to you in that moment is on you.
Believe it or not, it is a choice. What you do with it later on, that's completely on yourself. What they do is on them, but what you do is on you for going forward. So you can be a victim of your history, or you can choose to be a master of your destiny. That's the choices that you have. And so those who decide that I no longer want to be a victim, I want to start being a master, they start working on their mind, because that's how you're going to empower yourself going forward. Unbreakable. I love this. Thank you so, so much for doing this. Well, today, for making yourself vulnerable in this way so that others can connect, but for doing this every day. Thank you so, so much. The gateways that we create for young children at these critical spaces, we can turn trauma into absolute power, but the shift has to happen from within. Thank you so, so much for being that leading light. I hope we are going to continue conversations like this every day. We're going to keep the details up on our socials. If you want to connect, if you want to add to the conversation, please, please do that. And of course, you know that our social media team is absolutely amazing. They will stay connected with you. But hopefully we can empower you not just through the mind, but through the body today as well. Sehaam, thank you so much for joining us today. We're not going to make you do a workout this morning. You have earned the right to sidestep that. But Carissa has been on the most transformative journey, is about to take one for the team. Thank you, my friend.